She's incognito right now, listening in.
All
So
right,
let's see.
everybody. Good evening. My name's Crystal King. I'm an independent Arbonne consultant and district manager on Vita Ice's team, and I am super excited. Tonight, we're going to do an overview of the nutrition products and then talk a little bit about the business as well. And I'm hoping that Roger will be able to jump on. Um, but either way, this is great information. And so, since I know most of you except Deb, um, I'm just going to do a tiny bit and then I'm going to hand it over to Vita to talk about products. And maybe we'll have Daryl close us with a little bit of business and then back to me in case you have questions or something. But quickly about myself, I found Arbonne through the products. I was looking for skincare and absolutely fell in love with Arbonne when I met Mary. Um, and Mary told me about ingredients and why I should care. Because I had never read a label before my entire life before that. And I really probably never would have started. Um, and it was the products that was my first love. And it really is because Arbonne is a total care company. We're total body care, babies to grandparents. So that includes skincare, nutrition, personal care, makeup, and weight management, energy management, and so much more. But some of the things that Mary told me about were that Arbonne is cruelty free. We're certified vegan. We're formulated without gluten, and that it's all made from plants. I normally say there's no creepy stuff because we ban over 2,000 ingredients, which is the creepy stuff. And I love that part because I can honestly say you can read my labels. And then Arbonne backs the products with a 90-day guarantee. So I don't know any other company that does that. And I do know all of the other companies that I tried before Arbonne, um, there was no return. And I tried a dozen other companies and there was zero return policy. And so that was a lot of wasted money. Um, and the thing that I didn't know I needed was what Vita's going to focus on, and that's our nutrition line. I had no idea when Arbonne came out with that it would literally be my saving grace for my own personal health. And so I'm going to turn that over to Vita, and she's going to talk about our nutrition line and our healthy living kind of lifestyle that we talk about. And then, I can always answer questions about my own personal story if you want, but we can weave each other's stories in. But thank you so much, Vita, for being on the call. And I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Crystal. Yeah, your health journey is very inspiring and so neat to see you overcome so many of these health challenges and certainly the products have helped support that. But my name is Vita Ice, in case you guys don't know me. I'm an independent consultant and regional vice president with Arbonne, and I'm super glad that you joined us tonight to hear a little bit about how we can gain back our health and sustain it for life. That's the key, right? Is to be able to sustain it and not just get healthier, but to actually thrive and live our best lives. So this is just really an exciting way for us to connect and to have fun and to learn all at the same time. So I certainly want it to be interactive, and maybe Crystal can field questions, because sometimes when I'm on a roll, I'm not paying attention to the text or anything like that. So hopefully Crystal can alert me to those. But anyways, a little bit about myself. I'm a super busy wife, a volunteer, a mom of three great young adults. You'll be hearing from my husband a little bit, and we're also grandparents. So we have three grandchildren in the Pacific Northwest, and we kind of live in three different places officially. So we live in Oregon sometimes. We live in Puerto Rico is our main place, and then we live in Texas. We're brand new Texans, and we're still kind of taking our time and exploring that area. But all of that we were able to make happen because of the lifestyle we've been able to create with this business. But I was introduced to Arbonne over 30 years ago. Okay, so what really struck me about this product line was the amazing ingredient policy. I was that mom, that person that was already a label reader way back in the day before a lot of people did that. I was a biology major, so I kind of wondered about some of these things. When you have children, you want what's best for your kids. So I kind of would look at the things and it's like, wait a minute, why am I feeding my kid that? Right. So I was definitely a label reader for food. And then I started to think, okay, my background is in biology and I was in big pharma. And one of the medications that we had was a transdermal delivery system for the medication. It was fentanyl of all things, but we used it for pain management for oncologists, for oncology um, practitioners for cancer. And anyways, it was delivered transdermally. So I'm thinking, gosh, if things go through your skin, what about all the things we're putting on our skin every single day? So I was on a mission to find something that was non-toxic because most of the things on the market are number one, petroleum based. 98% of the personal care products and skincare and cosmetics have petroleum in it, which we know is highly comedogenic and it really has no place on, it's not skin compatible. It's basically refined motor oil, if you didn't know that. Things like mineral oil just gets refined and it's in 99% of personal care products on the market. But I was really amazed by Arbonne's ingredient policy. And remember, this was back in the day. Arbonne's a 45-year-old company. So this was, they were founded in 1980 and I started using the products, I think it was in 1990s, the 97 or something like that. Well, 30 years anyways, you guys do the math. But I was hooked to their commitment to offer products that were not only great for our bodies, but they actually were result oriented. Because also in Oregon, we're more forward thinking in Oregon when it comes to holistic health. And we had a grocery store called Nature's, if you remember that, and that's transitioned into what we have as New Seasons. And of course, then Whole Foods came on the scene from California. And I think back in our in Yamhill County, we have a grocery store called Harvest Fresh. So the original owners of the Nature's grocery stores branched out and opened that up in McMinnville. But needless to say, I would buy a lot of my lotions and things from those grocery stores because I knew that they actually carried some things that I could recognize the ingredients. So the fact that what I was currently using and I grew up with in the department store was I couldn't even get information on it, right? It was expensive, and you go to the person at the counter, they have no idea what the ingredients are, and you called a 1-800 number back in the day when I didn't have internet, and they had no idea. So it was just really a pleasant surprise to get introduced to Arbonne. And first of all, I was the only one that showed up to her little gathering, and so she gave me a facial, and it felt marvelous. And I knew I immediately wanted to get that product line. But fast forward, they came out after the fact. I was already sold on it and I loved all the certifications that they had, that you start to trust, right? You start to decide that I'm going to align with companies that align with my values of how I look at health. And so then they came out with makeup line. They started with skincare, then they came out with a few makeup items. And then it was a no-brainer to just make the switch. Right? Because I already knew that they were 100% vegan. They had all the certifications I could possibly want. And I had an autoimmune. And so I had to stay away from anything that was dairy oriented or gluten oriented. And so I love that it really was focused on only using pure, safe, and beneficial ingredients. To this day, they still have held on to that mantra. And then they came out with nutritional supplements. And this is when I got all fired up because they came out with a bioidentical hormone. And then I got really educated on that. And it just became an amazing journey. And I'm so grateful that we have this as a platform to share our passion for health. And I really love informing people about these products that actually work and that are very safe for us to use. I feel like they're the original clean product, right? Now, so many, that's like a hot button word. But it was this way back in the day before it became a vogue word to be green. So I'm really proud of Arbonne's holistic approach. It is a B Corporation certified company, so they never put profits ahead of people, our pets, our entire planet. So they're all about sustainability, and I love that. Crystal mentioned they don't allow 2,000 potentially toxic ingredients. You guys, that's the number one thing in the entire world. They're the only company that does that in the entire world. So Europe is a close second at 1,400 that they don't allow, but guess how many they don't allow in the United States?
I would
20.
say
It's
11.
like 14 to 20.
Yeah.
What, what's
Yeah, it's
that,
a really
Crystal?
small number.
Yeah. I mean, so that means we're kind of swimming in a maloof of chemicals, that are just not compatible with our body. So what we do is we really challenge people. You can choose like a 7 week, 15 day, or a 30 day to help people create these sustainable habits, and these products help support it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these products to help us um, get in the program with this. And basically, you have to kind of think about where you're at in your health journey. And there's so many, whatever you did in the past has gotten to this point where you are right now. And so if you feel like, oh, I'm living my best life, I feel healthy, I like the routine I'm doing, this is awesome. So this is a great way that you can sustain it even better. But if you know that you have some things that you need to change, or maybe a physician said, you know what, you've got to make some drastic changes, then this is also something that's so simple and convenient for you guys to follow. So like if you feel simple things like you feel bloated or you feel sluggish often, you have cravings, you struggle with energy, you have a hard time falling asleep, you get overwhelmed because there's so much information on nutrition and you don't know where to start. And you really would love a supportive community of like-minded people that can support you in this without feeling judged. Well, you've come to the right place. Okay, so our symptoms that we have are little whispers telling us that something's going on. And so the big takeaway from this is to listen to your body, and when it whispers to you about what's going on, like the symptoms of, oh gosh, I'm not concentrating very well, oh gosh, I'm having a little bit of brain fog, oh, this person is always irritating me, so you're irritated by everything. Well, listen to what's going on. These are little whispers that tells you that something is going on. And otherwise, if you don't pay attention to those little whispers, they're going to become screams, right? They're going to be like loud and clear that you got to do something. So this is all about having people reset their gut, because there is definitely this connection with your gut and your brain. Over 70% of our neurotransmitters are actually created in our gut. You know how we think, okay, gosh, I have this gut feeling about something, and then you start to get a headache or you start to feel stressed out in your mind, and it's all connected there. And so what we try to do, and not only are we resetting our gut, we're talking about the microbiome, and a lot happens in this microbiome. And unfortunately, if you follow, for the most part, the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet, unfortunately, and maybe hopefully that'll change in the coming year or two. But if you tend to follow that, then what that leaves your body is it leaves your body very sluggish and a lack of energy, and it tends to feed the wrong flora. Usually it's a candida, which is, if we have like only 30% candida, then your body can manage. But usually 70% is that, or other pathogenic type of things. And so what we're trying to do is create more of this balance. Nobody can eat perfect, nobody does, but this is a live thing going on inside our body. There's billions and billions and billions of organisms that make things happen, that turn signals off, that turn signals on. And we want the good signals to be turned on that keep us healthy. And we want those other signals turned off, like cancer signals, for example. Okay, so microbiome, your microorganisms are play the biggest role in all of that, and they follow circadian rhythms. So if we're not sleeping, also that's going to make a huge difference on what we turn on and what we turn off. So what we're trying to establish is this balance. And if you kind of think about like this overflowing faucet, and in order or this bathtub, for example, and if this bathtub continues to overflow, then it's just going to be a mess in your whole house. So in order to stop that overflow, we have to turn off the faucet. And part of turning off the faucet could be these potential things that are inflammatory, that are addictive usually, they're acid forming, they usually kind of wreak havoc and feed the wrong flora. And so we try to focus on that. That's one of the key areas, is focus on shutting off that faucet and eating more anti-inflammatory, cutting out the potential or the common culprits, gluten, dairy, alcohol, coffee, sugar, anything genetically modified, anything artificial, corn, wheat, soy, gluten, all of those things. Your body, those are like common things that people have, that cause inflammation. Okay, and so if we can kind of shut off that faucet by shutting off that kind of stuff, and then making swaps with things that are different. So, like for example, I saw this great keto friendly dessert that looked really easy to do, with like a coconut oil, but it used like wheat flour. So instead of using wheat flour, then maybe I would use almond flour, right? So we teach people to make swaps like that in some of their favorite recipes and things. So again, it's not going to be a restrictive, because we're talking about holistic health in mind, body, and skin, and also in your not dementia, in your demeanor, in your spirit. And so part of that is our emotional attachment to food, right? It's this relationship with food. And so we don't want people to feel restricted in the way they're eating. We want people to enjoy these wonderful foods, but know what it does to your body to cause inflammation or to cause it to be sluggish. So we eliminate these things that are potentially allergenic and addictive and acid forming. We then focus, if you're going to focus and obsess over anything, I would love for you to obsess over nutrients. So looking at nutrient dense calories, we don't necessarily cut all the calories, right? That's not very helpful, because then your body goes into storage mode, and then you wonder why you have this muffin top when you haven't been eating, right? So we really want people to focus on eating really nutrient dense meals, nutrient dense, and then also to pay attention to your blood sugar. That's usually when people cave, is when they are not balancing their blood sugars, right? Then they start to scarf, or they feel like they're depriving themselves and they don't know what to do, so they grab whatever's in the fridge or whatever. So it's a lot of preparation of what we do, and that we walk you through that. We teach you how to do that. And then last but not least, how are your bowel movements? Are you having glorious experiences in the bathroom? So we really help you kind of make sure that you're eliminating well. And we talk about that, what it looks like health in a healthy manner. So again, we have a 7-day program that you can follow. And what's great about the 7-day is that you are only doing it for 7 days. And we keep it very simple. And what we do is we have people try to at least fast for 12 hours. So that means, like, if your dinner is at 7 o'clock, you don't eat anything at night before you go to bed, right? You don't eat a thing. And so hopefully you'll go to bed by 10. So that's 3 hours of not eating anything. And then maybe you sleep for 9 hours. So that's 12 hours of not eating. And if you can do that, most people can't even do that. But if you've already done that and that's your lifestyle, then that's fantastic. We'd love for you to extend it to 14. 14 is like ideal, especially when we're talking about hormonal balance. It's the ideal place to be. And why do we do this? Well, the thing about it is, your body is like this city. Imagine your body as a city, and just like a city, it needs to budget its finances, and your body needs to budget its energy, its energetic resources. So your daily energy is very limited. So your body must constantly prioritize how it's going to distribute the energy. Digestion is one of the most energy consuming functions that the body performs. So if you continue to eat, guess what? You end up with a carb coma. You just want to go take a nap because you've exhausted yourself with just eating, right? Remember the Thanksgiving coma, right? So if your body is constantly tied up with digesting food, it's going to put your deeper cleansing that's so necessary, it's going to put it on hold. So our answer to this is to just at least have this 12-hour window. Then when you actually eat your first meal, you're really breaking the fast, right? That's why it's called breakfast. We're breaking the fast. And some people don't even fast for 12 hours. Okay. So you have 8 hours of digestion, and then you have 4 hours of the deep clean. Okay, 4 hours of the deep clean. And that's so important. If you don't have that, if you're eating before the 12 hours is done, you never get to that deep clean. And what I'm talking about with the deep clean is autophagy. It's where your cells are basically eating up the other cells and getting rid of it and eliminating it. It's doing a lot of cleansing in your brain. It's eliminating all this stuff. It's calming your pancreas down so that it's not punching out a bunch of insulin. It's calming your liver down so that it's not inflamed trying to digest all the sugar you just ate. It's or all the pills you're taking, or I mean, your liver is the most important when it comes to all of this. It's not taxing your gallbladder. I mean, your gallbladder is so important, pumping out all these bile juices and helping the liver do its thing, and that's where also glutathione is produced. Glutathione, by the way, is your number one master antioxidant that your body creates, and it's created in the liver. And so, the precursor to that is N-acetylcysteine, and without that nutrient that comes from a lot of fruits and veggies, you're not going to be able to create the glutathione, right? And glutathione is like this sulfuric molecule that's really powerful because it's like this sticky molecule that can absorb all of these fat soluble toxins and flush it out of your system. Okay. And without it, we can get really sick. We can get really sick. So it's very important that we pay attention to all this. And to do that, we need to at least fast for those 12 hours of no eating. So you have at least 8 hours of digestion, 4 hours of the deep clean. Now, if you extend it to 14 hours, that's even better. Then you're doing a great job in balancing your hormones. Okay, so for women, we have this triad of hormones: your thyroid, your ovaries, and your adrenal glands. And if one of them is messed up, it's going to mess up the whole triangle, right? So it's so important that we pay attention to that. And so your adrenal glands are so important when it comes to energy. That's where cortisol is produced, and so many people have high cortisol. And so then they caffeinate and sugarate, and that cortisol continues to stay high, and then you wonder why you're tired but wired, right? And then you can't sleep, or if you do go to sleep, you get up in the middle of the night. Did someone have a question? I'm sorry. Okay, I thought I heard something. Okay. Um, and then the adrenals, of course, it produces your progesterone and your fight or flight hormones as well. And so it's so important that we take care of those adrenals, these thumb-sized glands that sit on your kidneys, and they're so very important. But when it's done, it's done. If it's exhausted, you're going to bed. I mean, it won't do anything. We want it to be there for us when we need adrenaline. But so much, if we have high cortisol and we're constantly on a high cortisol, guess what? Adrenaline's going to kick in. And then when we really need adrenaline, it's not there. Okay. If we need it to pick up the car off our kid or finish a race, when we're running, it's just not there. We're done. We've bonked, right? Because your adrenals are shot and all you can do is go to bed. And of course, if your adrenals are shot, you're gonna wreak havoc on your thyroid, right? So there's so many things. And then when we're talking about our ovaries, your periods are going to be a hot mess, right? You're going to have lots of cramping. You're going to have a major overflow. You're going to have estrogen dominance. So there's a lot of things that happens when we are able to calm down and not digest a bunch of food all day long. Okay. So at least do the 12-hour. If you are not consistently doing a 12-hour fast, then start there. Don't think that, okay, I'm just going to go full on and do 16-hour fast. No. You're setting yourself up for non-success, right? So plan on doing consistently 12 hours. If you can do 12 hours a day of not eating, okay, from dinner till when you wake up in the morning, if you could do that for a month, then yeah, move on to the 14-hour. Okay. But I'd love for especially women, to do 14 hours if you can. And so in that 7-day set, you have matcha tea, which has MCT oil, and it's Japanese matcha. Okay. There's a lot of matcha out there that's not good quality. So don't think that you could just get anything that says matcha tea. Okay. So it has no bad things in it. It's processed so well. Cold process, so all the nutrients are intact, and then it has MCT oil. And why is that important? Because when you're trying to extend a fast, you still need to feed your brain. Even if when you wake up in the morning, your brain has to do all the things that it has to do. So fat is what you got to do. And MCT oil is a very clean, it's made from coconut oil. There's a lot of MCT oil that is not good quality, you guys. So then you're getting the benefits of the MCT oil and the matcha. And matcha is so superior when it comes all the antioxidants, the anti-inflammatory. It's great for hypertension. There's so many great properties. It's a de-stressing type of tea. Okay, so you drink that, and then you have our golden renewal protein, which is excellent. It's got so many things specifically to heal the liver, like powerful milk thistle. It's going to help boost glutathione big time. It has turmeric, curcumin. And when you drink it, it tastes like what was that? Laurel told us it tasted like apple cinnamon crunch, cinnamon apple crunch, whatever that cereal was, where the milk kind of tastes like that. It's really yummy. It's got cinnamon in it, and it's so good for you. It's a good way to transition. Then you have your meal. So that's what's going to break your fast is that golden renewal protein. Okay, you got 20 grams of clean protein made from the yellow pea legume, and then in addition to that, then you have a meal with it. So it's that then it's your eating window that you eat all your nutrient dense calories, right? You eat a lot, and don't think, and when I'm talking a lot, I'm talking about 6 to 12 servings of fruits and vegetables daily. 6 to 12 servings. There's a lot of fiber in those 6 to 12 servings of fruits and veggies, right? There's a lot of good fiber. There's a lot of good soluble and fat soluble, soluble and insoluble fibers. There are prebiotic fibers in those things as well. And then you're gonna have good protein in there. Okay, so a quarter of your plate, so half of your plate is gonna be your leafy greens and all the good servings of veggies, and then your quarter of your plate is gonna be clean protein. It could be meat oriented. Salmon is awesome. It's got your omega-3 good fats. It's got your you could do the beef you guys know all this, right? You just want it to be clean. And then an eighth is going to be your good fat. So do that olive oil, eat an avocado every day. All of that stuff is so good. And then you're going to have your non-starchy veggies. Okay, so not that much of your plate is going to be that. Okay, so that's your meal. And to make it simple, we have our shakes. Okay, they're especially if it's hard or you need convenience. The shakes, it's a great way to start your day with shakes and to end your day. If you're going to do two shakes per day, then guess what? You're going to lose weight, and we have a great essential meal protein. It is by far the best protein on the market, and I've looked at so many of them, and they really don't compare. Okay, so it's got a robust protein profile made from hemp, pumpkin, quinoa, yellow pea, and brown rice. And it has the essential fats. It's the only one on the market that has avocado oil in it. Okay, so it truly is. You could just do that in water, and you've got a meal. Okay, I highly recommend if you're not eating enough nutrient dense calories. It should be, if you're in this cleansing mode, it should be around 1900 calories, nutrient dense calories. If you are a lot more overweight, we probably have to talk about how much you need to be eating, because we don't want you starving yourself. I don't want you defeating the purpose, right? So if you're breastfeeding or if you're pregnant, you could still do this. You're eating clean. You're not depriving yourself of anything. You're just eating clean, and you're eating a lot, right? If you're pregnant and you're nursing or whatever, so your caloric intake may still be 2,000 to 2,500, but you're eating clean. Okay, so all of these things you can personalize. You can talk to the consultant that invited you to listen to this. And then what's in the bigger set that we have is the protein shakes, the bigger protein shakes. You get a 30 days, well, you get a 60-day supply, so 2 meals per day if you wanted to. And then you have your gut health microbiome support. It has prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes. We also have the greens that's incorporated in there, the green synergy elixir. We also have a detox tea that you can incorporate that cleanses your liver, your kidneys, and your blood. If you noticed, what I'm mentioning here are food oriented. You're not going to find a lot of capsules in Arbonne. Because we want it to be very bioavailable. We want to be able to have the body maximally absorb these nutrients. And so I love that about Arbonne is most of them are powder oriented and no extra fillers or anything like that. And then going back to the 7-day kit that we have, at the end of the day, we do have a really great probiotic, and that is in a pill, and you don't need to refrigerate it. It becomes viable when you put it in your mouth with water. So that definitely is specifically for the urinary tract and the colon. Okay, those are great superior ones, but we have other ones as well. So that is in a nutshell what we do with our 7-day, our 15-day, and our 30-day fast. just following this, you're going to see a lot of benefit. You're going to see probably a flatter gut. You're going to decrease the bloating, maybe. You're hopefully going to get off some of the medications that you might be on. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have better energy. I wonder if there's anybody on the call here that has any testimonies that you want to share. Let's see if we can get a couple of you to share. Crystal?
I can do a
Well,
testimony, Vita.
Vicky, um, let's let Vicky talk because she just finished the 30 days with her husband. Vicky, could
Did
you
you
give
raise
us
your
just a
hand, Vicki?
little? No, I
Well, we can hear
volunteered
from
her.
Vicki and Chris. We can hear from Vicki and Crystal.
Yes.
So a quick
Vicky,
one.
unmute yourself.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself or put your hand up. And I don't think I can unmute you, but um, so as I started saying in the beginning, the nutrition products really did change um, how I ate and how I decided to eat. And it was actually doing the first Arbonne nutrition program that includes a little mini elimination diet where we're avoiding all of the most acidic, allergenic, and addictive foods and drinks. Um, when I did that and then started slowly adding the things back in, I found the things that I did need to, you know, exit out of my lifestyle and get off of my food lane. So I did find out that gluten-free is a better lifestyle for me. Lactose-free is a better lifestyle for me. Soy-free is a better lifestyle for me. And there were a few more frees that I found out about. But in the over 10-year journey of digestion issues and terrible gut health, Arbonne was always my source of recovery and renewal. And always I knew, okay, if I can't eat what's in front of me, I can have this shake. I can make the shake into something that I can eat too. So I can make it into other foods. And it was always a huge source for me. So over the years, I've been able to eliminate over 30 pounds and keep them off. I have been able to reduce my waist by massive amounts of inches. And I've been able to maintain that and tweak my lifestyle. And so um, I love that. And then sometimes our worst clients are our family. And so just a quick testimonial about the 7-day fresh start set. When that came out, I talked my husband into doing it, and he did it really, really well. And he, in 7 days, lost 10 pounds and lots of inches of everything leaving him. So I was so excited and proud of that. And we're about ready to do another one. So, but Vicky, what was some of your results?
Wow, we lost a lot of weight too, just in the first week and a half. And it wasn't, the shakes are really good.
Hmm.
I mean, they're a full meal. And so sometimes we'd have two a day, sometimes we just have one. But you supplement with fresh fruits and veggies and the powders that are part of the package. And the dinners were really, chicken, fish, even beef, lean beef, and veggies and salads. And it really wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. There were moments going, it's a very social community. So when you get invited to somebody's house and we're having seafood chowder. I'm like, oh, I believe that would have some dairy in it. But, I mean, it was, we liked it. It was beneficial. We felt good. John just started a new job. And so he was able to actually start this job after not teaching for like, how many years, honey? Like 10, 20, I mean, 15 years. And he was able to just enjoy life. So I just speak really highly of it. And I'd kind of like to try the 7-day one just to see, it's less daunting, I guess.
Well, I think the 7-day
That's
one is
awesome.
pretty easy. Because if you think about it, like I don't snack and I don't eat after dinner, so I don't,
We don't either.
it's not part of my makeup. Um, but even for people who do, it really just teaches you when not to eat and to give your body that rest. And 12 hours is really not an extended rest. I mean, 14 hours is, like Vita said, ideal if you can do 14. But if you've never fasted before and you're a snacker, I would say just hold out for that 12, and it's super easy. And then you feel so energized and so great during the day.
And one of the things I like about it is the awareness of snacking at night. I mean, a lot of people don't think about that eating that popcorn or those nuts or the whatever people snack on isn't healthy for you. That it's much better to do it before 7 o'clock. So for me, I know 7 o'clock, that's it. I don't put anything in my mouth after that. It's just a good routine habit to get. But I know, Vicky, you said you need to get some more shakes. So it's more than just that 30 days. It's a lifestyle that we carry on. And I'm sure Vita, you as well, but you're in Puerto Rico, so you can get your products there. I brought a huge duffel bag full of shakes and drinks and my probiotics and all of that down here to Mexico because we're here for 4 months. And I mean, I can't imagine not being able to have my shakes or my energy
Exactly.
drink or all the
Yeah.
things that supplement meals. And I think, Vicky, you even realized that when you do the math, that 30 days to healthy living kit is actually saving you money through the month, especially if you're doing two meals a day. It turns out that you're saving money in your food budget, even though it is an outlay at the beginning. If you're committed to that month, you're really actually saving money with this program. And as the price of food goes up, hey, we've got an answer for that.
Exactly. Well, and the thing too is it's such an easy thing. It's not like all these diets that are so hard they're very restrictive. Like when people go on the Whole 30, for example, it's like you can't make substitutions with Whole 30. Or if you're doing paleo, you're eliminating all the grains and legumes and dairy and not, so you can't even have treats, right? You can't even substitute and have treats. So I would say maybe the primal might be closest to the Arbonne 30, but you still need although I think the primal does more fat. So, but the thing is, when people want to do something so drastic like that, why not start just by eliminating the inflammatory foods? The Arbonne 30 is really so much simpler. And then if you feel like you need to restrict yourself even more, or the doctor says that you need to do that, then go for it. But all we're doing is trying to distribute our energy in the right way. It's all about, and the energy, when we're talking about the energy, we're talking on a cellular level. So the cell, we're talking about mitochondrial function. So the cells, the energy output of your cell is so crucial in keeping that cell very healthy. The lining around their cell, the linings around your colon, all of those things have to do with nutrients. And so when we're eating a high carbohydrate type of diet and we're converting glucose, it stimulates the pancreas to secrete so much more insulin, and that shuttles the glucose into your cells to use it for energy. And then when it does that, it goes through 11 steps to do that, and it's through ATP. But if it does that, that's 11 steps, you guys. It's very sluggish for the cell to do that. And if you're doing high protein, it's still dependent on the glucose for the energy. So it's going to still stimulate insulin, but you don't want to just do protein. But although we should focus on at least 100 grams of protein per day, especially if we're going through hormonal challenges. And that's if you're not thinking about how much protein you're taking in, and you were to track it, I would suggest you track it. Then a lot of people are wondering, okay, how come I'm so weak, or how come I have osteoporosis all of a sudden, or all these things? It's probably because you don't have enough protein, and amino acids are the building blocks to protein. So amino acids, without those, we don't have life. So whenever there's people that are starving in the world, we give them protein for good reason. Okay. So, and then of course, then we have the fat. The fat's what feeds our brain. And if we can get our brain the energy, it uses ketones. It doesn't use glucose to do that. It uses ketones. But if you're doing too much fat, then you have to deal with triglycerides, and you don't want to have high triglycerides. It's going to actually clog up your arteries. So I love the balance that we have with Arbonne. You're not going to have high carbs. You're not going to even have high protein, although we need to eat more protein. And you're not going to have super high fat of the wrong fats. Okay. So we have people choose the good fats, the clean meats, and the variety. Your body loves variety of 6 to 12 servings of fruits and veggies every day, for example. So all of those things are going to be great that you can sustain for a lifetime, and they're habits that you're trying to create together. We know that positive or negative peer pressure works. Well, we're talking about positive peer pressure. That's why the success of doing it in a group where there's support makes such a big difference for people. Okay. Any other questions before I can bring Daryl on? Do you guys have any other
think we
questions at
could,
all?
yeah, jump into him. It is more like flexitarian, which is small amounts
Yeah.
of protein, a variety of fruits and vegetables. That's kind of more like what we suggest. And if you
Right.
don't really know what that is, you can ask the person who invited you. But it's basically what Arbonne is suggesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm bringing Daryl on because we can get also a guy's perspective on, although we did hear about Vicky's husband on the products and what you think. If you can kind of scoot down so they can see you on the screen.
I will.
So if you can share a little bit about your experience with the products and then what you think about the company, why this is a great move for people to kind of diversify if they wanted to.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a biology expert. I'm an engineer and business guy, but I've used a lot of these kind of products since college, protein shakes, and care about nutrition. And yeah, for me, the protein shakes and the energy drinks are the primary products that I like, that I can compare to a lot of other products I've had over the years. Um, and having used these products for over 20 years, we've got great confidence in all the products and when they come out with new products. So it just, I guess, having a company that formulates everything to work together with their other products makes a big difference than trying to piecemeal it together at the Fred Meyer or wherever someone might try to get all their different things together. So we've gotten to the point, or long past the point, that we just love and embrace any new products that come out because they complement the ones that we're already using. But as any of you know me, what I always like and what I like to focus on more is the numbers and the business aspect of it. And just briefly on that, I mean, one thing I like a lot about this, just from a business standpoint, is the products appeal to everybody. The Many of us do jobs every day. I sold products, I built products for a very large company for over 20 years, and they were great products, but they weren't products any of us use. And so it's nice to walk into a room, walk into any situation, and know that you're representing a company with products that everybody in that room can benefit from. And so having that breadth of market is huge if you're just looking at it from a business standpoint. Most businesses, if you look at them, are very niche in some method, and so that's a big factor for me in looking at this, or and if I was considering any business. The other thing, having run manufacturing plants and hiring everything from plant managers to engineers to new people on the plant floor, I love the fact that anybody can do this business. And I feel like it sometimes gets taken for granted. Maybe all of us, if we're honest, because it's a type of business that if you work at it, you can make as much as you want. I worked within a very pyramid centric corporation where there was very few positions at the top and very difficult for people to promote. And if they didn't have the right credentials, the right experience, the right politics, the right everything, it was very difficult to go anywhere. With this business, there's absolutely no barriers. So it's if you don't choose to succeed at it, you can certainly do that. You can do it. It's a way to make some extra income if you want, and have some great products. But it's a type of business that there are no limitations on it, and that to me makes it the type of business I'd want to share with people. And then, yeah, the other thing I often mention that I really like is any business has to work on both sides because we want Arbonne to succeed and be around forever, right? And so when I look at financial statements, I look at how businesses are run. One of the things I love about Arbonne, unlike the businesses I ran, where we spent all kinds of money every month, regardless of how much product we moved, how good the salespeople did, whether advertisements worked or didn't work. Most companies, they spend a lot of money on, and it's a big gamble. They spend a lot of money on advertisements. They spend a lot of money on salespeople, and it's there's a real latency in the time of spending that money to hopefully seeing any success from it. What I love about Arbonne's model is, on one hand, they have a very lucrative compensation plan for us, but I also like that Arbonne is super efficient. They don't spend any money until we actually move a product. And if you think about that compared to most businesses, it's very unique. And so they're not at a lot of risk. If we decide not to sell anything, they don't pay us. And so that's good for them. And that's the way it should be, right? And so it makes me feel confident that they're in for the long run and they don't have a lot that's going to potentially get them in trouble with their financials. So I would just encourage everybody to just always remember and appreciate what we have here and get excited about enough that you just want to talk to people about it. I had fun talking to a lady about it today on the plane from Dallas. And when like anything, when you don't believe in it, you're not going to talk about it. And if you like it, it's going to be fun to talk about it. So there's lots of other things we could go over with the business side of it, but those are just some of the broad brush areas that I think for me kind of keep me aligned with why it's very unique than all the politics and all the craziness that goes in most big corporations. And so I'm glad to be away from that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I feel like for the most part, we've been doing this for over 20 years now, and it's still very rewarding. I feel so very excited still every day to be able to help people with their health. And then even more if they want to be able to bring in a secondary income stream to be able to help them with the business. So that's what I have today. Thank you, Daryl, for sharing. Crystal, did you have anything else that you wanted to close with?
So I know there are a lot of consultants on here, and I am recording this and will be happy to send it out. But if you are a guest on here, or if you're watching this recording, think to yourself, I love Arbonne because one, for me, friends don't let friends shop retail. So for me, there's always my mindset of I'm helping you create a healthy living lane for you to drive on and for you to have your health on. And that's really my goal always. So please contact the consultant that invited you. But think about if you want to shop with us and save money as a discount shopper, which is our preferred client program. If you want to just try Arbonne out and be a client and maybe try one thing or two things, again, talk to your consultant. They can help you out. Or if you are super excited about this and you're ready to join us, then again, reach out to the consultant that invited you because you can make money helping people create healthy living lanes and lifestyles. So with that, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I'm going to